Alright, we're gonna try this one more time because I ran out of time. So, what's your typical day like in quarantine? Well, for me, it's usually waking up, making breakfast of some sort. Usually, we make we have like this oatmeal from Seagram, which is like an ancient grain in America, but here it was just used before the colonization of maize. It's like really high in protein, very good for you. We eat that, and then depending on what we have to do for the day, we go out and just handle the local farm stuff. I'm on a farmstead, so we grow like onions and peanuts and nuts and beans and I'm trying to grow tomatoes too. I've been helping these guys set up a permaculture system. How do you deal with the fact that nothing's changed, like I said before? What's your biggest problem is just everything's on hold. I work in the international cannabis market, so all investments and expansions and pot stocks and everything's kind of like tanked at the moment, and everything's like switching up. So there's not a lot of work going around at the moment. So that's kind of the biggest pain in my butt at the moment. Is just everybody else's freak out. I'm pretty lucky to be on a giant farm with as much room I want to run around and do whatever I want. So I spend most of the day just working out and just smoking weed, which works really well for me because I have data. So I can just surf the net all day and like teach my roommate a bunch of cool stuff about business because he's a college graduate as well. There's been like up until like right before the lockdown, there wasn't much like warning about disclaimers for the quarantine. People weren't taking it seriously. The minibuses with all the people on them were still running. People weren't really partying, but nobody was really taking it serious until like the government shut down. Like I actually got kicked out of my lodging because of it. I had to manually. Luckily, my the guy I buy cannabis from found me a place to stay on a farm. So bless the cannabis gods that beat for that one. Nobody's really panicking. I mean, there's like panic in the air, but there's more of like just like there's panic about people that knew, but not just like more like as you went back into town during the lockdown. Everybody, especially me being the only white guy here, just got looked at like I was a foreigner. So automatically, as I was assumed to be like a potential carrier of the virus, even though I've been here way past the time for incubation. Um, but some of the people are just more annoyed about like the social distancing aspects and everything of going to supermarkets. Lots of cops. I would consider it martial law. There's a lot of like military and police force that's on the streets cracking down, and they've been known to use their batons as well as like check paperwork and expect bribes. It's kind of not the best situation, but it could be worse. Swaziland's actually very safe considered to most other like Southern African countries. Anything unique in her, I've heard. The king might be infected with the virus when he met with some Taiwanese soldiers when they were visiting, and so there's a rumor that he's infected as well as possibly dead. Swaziland just doesn't like nobody's really gonna know either for a few months because they'll keep it secret. But pretty much only the people that have been tested here has been the royal family, and like I think now, as of today, of filming this video, there's up to 1,000 tests and something like 40 confirmed cases, but there's 1.3 million people here, so there's absolutely no way to know how far the infections got. I haven't ventured very far outside or talked to a bunch of the local populace because I'm trying to keep low. But yeah, it like from my point of view, I don't interact with enough locals to tell you what the local sentiment is. Everybody's just kind of like in the rural areas, continuing life as usual, but covering their faces and trying to maintain social distancing.